This is Trucker Hacks 9 with me, Matthew Garnett, and this week we're going to look at how to secure multiple coils on an overweight steel load. Bit of a unique situation, a little bit new to me as well, so I'm going to be looking for you vets to give me some advice on that. But before we get to all that, let me remind you to go to the Apple App Store or Google Play Store and download the Trucker Path app. This is a very useful app. It is essentially Google Maps for truckers, and it's going to give you how much parking is available at certain parking venues, including truck stops, rest areas, and so on and so forth. It's also going to tell you whether or not certain way stations are open. So if you've got a little bit of a questionable issue with an axle as far as weight goes, you can tell whether or not that way station is going to be open, or maybe how long that's going to lay you. I would just encourage you to go to the Play Store, to the Apple App Store, and download Trucker Path. It's a very helpful app. It's much better than going out and spending hundreds of dollars on a GPS that is eventually going to short circuit, break, whatever else, because those roads are rough out there. They're going to beat those GPSs to death, and that fancy GPS tablet you bought that sticks on a magnet on your windshield, eventually that thing's going to break because the roads are just too rough for it. What's not going to break is your phone, and this is an app that you can always use. Go check out Trucker Path on those app stores. That's the investment you need to make for the long term. It's going to save you money. It's going to save you time. It's a very helpful app. I use it, and I recommend it to all you guys. All right, so let us get to the hack of the week. Which is, again, this big steel load, multiple coil load, very maybe strange load to some of you, a strange load to me. So I'm going to show you how I did it, how I would recommend you do it. But I'm also going to ask for advice from you vets out there who have hauled heavy steel before. But before we get to all that, let's check out the song of the week, which is Johnny Cash's adaptation of the Nine Inch Nails song called Hurt. Here we go with that.
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real.
The main image I like in this video is the image of Christ in his thorns carrying the cross. And Nine Inch Nails song Hurt is very, very hopeless, very despairing song. And I think Cash felt like that, as a person, perhaps, that he built up all these things. He was a famous artist and these sorts of things, and what did it really matter in the end? Well, again, that image of Christ comes to mind, and we as truckers out there, maybe I'm getting a little squishy for you guys, but what we do out there matters. And our blood, our sweat, our tears matter to our families, matter to our wives, our children, matter to the country. Even if you don't have a wife and children, whatever the case may be, what you do out there matters. And I think I bring this up because we go through a lot of difficult things. We have those times when we whack our head on something and we have to have stitches, or we cut our wrist trying to secure a coil, or some idiot runs into us, or we have those lonely nights at the steel mill and we're wondering what the purpose of what we're doing is. Well, there's a purpose to it, and it might hurt, but in contrast to Cash and originally Nine Inch Nails, there is a purpose. And again, I point back to the image of Christ, and his suffering seemed needless. And I think that's really what Cash was reaching out for in this video. Was he hoped that what he'd been through in his life, what he'd accomplished, meant something. And this video means something to me. It keeps me going. It shows me that, indeed, what we do matters. And even though this might be a little depressing, again, a little ishy, squishy for us tough truck drivers, might be inspiring for you this next week on the road.
His friend, everyone I know goes away in the end, and you could have it all. My empire of dirt, I will let you down. I will make you hurt. If I could start again, a million miles away, I would keep myself. I would find a way.
All right, so essentially what we're looking at here is three 20,000-pound coils. This is about 60,000 pounds worth of steel. It looks intimidating. It was to me when I first put this on. This is a very unique load for me, which is why, again, I think I've got this secured properly. So I would give the advice to those guys out there that might face a load like this to secure it the way I've secured it. However, definitely open to more advice from you vets who haul this type of steel. Again, we've got 4 coils, which essentially are weighing about 5,000 pounds a piece, equaling out at about 20,000 pounds per cradle here. And we've got 3 cradles of steel, and essentially my thought was to make these all one coil. So we basically have 20,000 pound coil in front, one in the middle, one on the end. Want to make these one, and in order to do that, we've got to do a couple things here. We've got to chain these coils down in a couple of ways, and as you'll see in the end, I made it. I took these coils from point A to point B, and we had no problems. But this might be a unique situation which you guys run into. Also, I might just add that you might run into loads where you've got a bunch of loose stuff on an open deck, and what you want to do is make it one. So that's what we've done here. So you see here, what I've done is I put a chain over the top of these coils. I put a chain down the middle. What I want to do is make these 4 coils that weigh 5,000 pounds apiece. I want to make them one coil that weighs 20,000 pounds, and that's what the purpose of those 2 chains going over the top and down the middle of those coils is meant to do. It's meant to make it one coil. Now, of course, is it going to secure it to the trailer? 100%. Is it going to set it down in the cradle? Yes, that's exactly what we're after when we're trying to secure coils. Then we've got the direct tie downs there, which only count as half, but still we've got plenty. We've got 3 8-inch chains going over the top, down the middle. That's 16,000 pounds worth of protection there. Then we've got the 2 chains that are direct tie downs going from one flank to the other on the trailer. That's going to give us an additional 8,000 pounds of securement, plus it's technically 8,300 pounds with the 3 8-inch chains. Those big chains, if you have the smaller chains, this might be a little bit more of a challenge to you. You're going to maybe have to figure out how to get a couple more chains on there. But with these big chains, we can do it this way. We've got plenty going on here because we've got, again, 5, 10, 15, 20,000 pounds worth of coils, and we're over 100% securement here. Now, why go 100% securement? Why do all that? Well, we're trying to keep these coils together. It's not so much a fact of having 100% securement, but making sure those coils aren't going to come apart because they're not banded together. Those are 4 separate coils. So it's our job as the driver to make sure that those coils are secured. They're not going to come apart. One's not going to fall over on the deck. And the best way to do that, in my estimation, was to do one down the middle, one over the top, make sure those coils aren't going to come apart. And that's kind of how he handled it. Here you can see how I did it. this is one question I might have, the one thing I might question myself on, but just simply did not have the room to do anything else, is you see I've used 2 plates down there on the mid-rib of the deck, and I've secured a chain and a binder to one of those. So I have 2 securements coming out of those plates that are running down the rib or the middle of my deck here. That's the way I did it. Again, all's well that ends well. We made it. We got these things from point A to point B. But if I were to do it differently, then I would have to have 4 plates total here in the middle on both ends, and I would have to have the ratchet binders and the chains secured to 2 different plates. So anyway, this is how it turned out. We've got, again, essentially what we're shooting for is not 12 coils, because that's what we have here. Essentially, we have 4 in the front, 4 in the middle, 4 in the back. We don't want to think about securing 12 coils individually. What we want to do is make each one of those bundles of coils one coil, like we did with the one down the middle, the one over the top, bundled them on the rib in the middle of the trailer with the plates. That's how we did it. And pull those coils together and call them one coil, count our weights according to the 3/8 chains, bind them this way. Again, maybe not recommended, but I found this to be the most optimal way to secure these coils, using one plate, and granted, using those plates as anchors for 2 different securements. That's what we did here, and that's how it ended up working out. Here's the video of it. Again, you can see here I've got essentially 4 chains on each coil. 2 chains making each set of 4 one coil, and then the 2 other chains binding them so they don't roll off the trailer. These were mandated by the shipper and the receiver that they be loaded shotgun fashion, and that's how we set them up. One little feature I might mention here is on my side chains, I put 1 ratchet binder in front, 1 ratchet binder in back, which just kind of just equalizes the tension. See, you can see the ratchet binder there in the front, and then on the rear, I put the other ratchet binder. You can see that there. So it just kind of differentiates, which direction these things are pulling. Maybe had I done it again, I would have maybe taken that 1 ratchet binder on that lower chain down the rib, put it on the other side. I don't know. Yeah, that's why I'm showing this, because I think some guys might struggle with a load like this, be intimidated by it. Don't be intimidated by it. Just let's try to figure out. And that's the same thing with anything else where you've got multiple pieces that are being. Oh, there's. I cut myself doing this because they had one of the coils had a piece of steel sticking out. That's why you wear your sleeves, folks. Wear your sleeves, even though that you might think it's ridiculous to wear your sleeves, but when you don't wear your sleeves, that's what happens. At any rate, as you can see here, we got the coils from point A to point B. Here we are offloading, and we're safe and sound, and everything went well, fortunately for us. And so. That's what you need to think about, whether you run an open deck or conestoga or whatever else. If you've got multiple pieces, what you need to think about is, how can I take this set of pieces and make it one, where I'm just securing one piece of something? How can I make this thing one? It might be a belly wrap that you wrap a strap around, a bunch of multiple pieces, and make that thing one. Make it one piece. That's what I attempted to do. With this set of 12 coils, was make that set of 12 coils, each group of them, tried to make them one, and then secure that one set of coils based on the standards that were given from Uncle Sam. And so hopefully this makes sense to you. This can be an intimidating type of load. Don't let it intimidate you. Always think about, okay, how can I make this multiple set of pieces one thing? You might have a bunch of angle iron. Somebody throws a bunch of angle iron on you, and you're like, wow, that's gonna be. I'm gonna have to throw 100 straps on that. No, think about how can you wrap a strap around that to make it one piece and then take that one piece and then secure it from there. That's really, I think, the lesson we want to take away from there. Also, I definitely am interested in you vets. I'm new to the heavy haul steel business. This is new to me. Fortunately, I've come into it, and I'm grateful for it. I'm enjoying it, but would like to hear from you vets as well. Okay, enough of that. Let's get on to our book of the week and the podcast of the week. Here we go.
Burton in the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there.
Like I told my last wife, I says, honey, I never drive faster than I can see. Besides that, it's all in the reflexes. You just listen to the old Pork Chop Express and take his advice on a dark and stormy night, all right? When some wild-eyed 8-foot-tall maniac grabs your neck, taps the back of your favorite head up against a barroom wall, and he looks you crooked in the eye, and he asks you if you've paid your dues, well, you just stare that big sucker right back in the eye, and you remember what old Jack Burton always says at a time like that. Have you paid your dues, Jack? Yes, sir, the check is in the mail. I'm not saying that I've been everywhere and I've done everything, but I do know it's a pretty amazing planet we live on here, and a man would have to be some kind of fool to think we're all alone in this universe.
Our book of the week this week is Annie Jacobson's Surprise Kill Vanish. Very fascinating book about America's clandestine operations with the CIA, the NSA, the military, worldwide since really World War II. Surprise Kill Vanish. Very interesting book. Get your mind off the politics of the day and just look at where our country's been with some of these clandestine operations. Very, very fascinating, very interesting. The links to go, the links to which our country will go to protect our freedoms. Also, the links to go, the links to which some politicians will go to protect their careers. Kind of a mix of both in Jacobson's book, Surprise Kill Vanish. But it talks about these clandestine operations. Enjoyed the book and hope you will as well. Here's a little bit of that.
Recently, at the behest of Ayatollah Khomeini, the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps had created a proxy army, or hidden hand army, to carry out covert operations in Lebanon and elsewhere. This proxy army would become known as Hezbollah, the Party of God, although they still used a variety of pseudonyms, including Islamic Amal and Islamic Jihad. After the death of Salameh, Mughniya sought a rise to power within the terrorist group, which is why he was out looking for explosives in the fall of 1982.
Our podcast of the week this week is not so much a podcast as it is a lecture series that you can find on YouTube. It's Arthur F. Holmes, Philosophy from Wheaton College. It's a course in philosophy. You guys are out there driving around. Maybe you don't care about this sort of thing, but I do. And I've drawn so much information and knowledge from this course just to understand our world, understand our politics, understand where all this is going, what Western civilization's all about. You know, I'm just not going to sit behind the wheel out there and, you know, listen to Cardi B or, you know, even my favorite country songs. It's not, you know, even though we do the song of the week, a lot of what I dedicate my time to is education and knowledge, and I could not recommend more you going to Arthur F. Holmes' YouTube channel and listening to his lectures on philosophy. Very helpful place. This will really, honestly, if you listen through all of those lectures and you're dedicated to them, you're going to be educated at least a bachelor's level education on philosophy, which again I find very helpful. Hopefully you will too. Here's a little bit of Dr. Holmes' teaching, which is very captivating. His lecturing, his lecture style is very invigorating and engrossing. It's going to draw you in, and it's something I hope you'll take advantage of. Arthur F. Holmes Philosophy. Check it out on YouTube. Here's a little bit of it.
One booming, buzzing confusion bombarding you every sense. You see. Somehow or other this gets sorted and ordered. So our faculties must provide some sort of structure. A filter, lens, whatever metaphor you want. Well, and the same is true when you come to understanding, because the perceptions that we have provide perceptual experience. But how do we get from individual perceptual experiences to general abstract ideas? You see? To the sorts of concepts that the understanding works with. Well, he maintains that once again the mind is so equipped, so functions. Remember that Hume had talked of the mind's proclivities. You see, the Scottish realists, the mind's proclivities. Well, Kant is thinking that way too. He talks of faculties. But the mind has the capacity to provide structural principles that enable us to conceptualize what is going on in the world of perceptual experience. And what the understanding does then is to formulate judgments about perceptual experience. Different kinds of judgments, different categories of judgments. So you formulate causal judgments. Yeah. You make quantitative judgments. That is to say, is everything like this or just some things?
Every